Welcome back to the American Garage. Today I'm going to recover the shift knob with leather. Look over my shoulder and see what I'm doing. Now the original shift knob had this nice emblem on top with the gears. We're going to put that back on. Now I could have just bought a new one, but I like the original and I want to restore it to what it was. It had a nice black leather coverings on it, and this is actually the original. And so I popped that out of there, and then I undid this and tried to use it as a pattern. But the problem with using the original one as a pattern is it got stretched over the years, and they're not uniform in shape. So the original wasn't much good. So here's the process we're going to use to recover this. First, I had to make a pattern. I did my best to make a pattern. It was hard to make it symmetrical, but I did my best to make it symmetrical. And then I used that pattern to cut out some shapes. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see close up, but it was difficult to get it cut exactly symmetrical. Now, on my first attempt, this was my first attempt. And the problem with it was that it was nice and tight right here around the ball, but it was loose down here and it was loose on the top around the edge. And that made it look kind of funky. So that one was no good. Okay? So, second attempt, we got it fitting, or I got it fitting. And it fit really nice around the bottom, but it was baggy around the top. So I had to take this, and I used this and modified it a little bit from the new pattern for the new pieces, making them a little more narrow on the top, but the bottom was fine. So now I'm taking my third attempt and I'm going to stitch together and see if it fits. Let me show you the process real quick. First, I got my leather. Okay, here's some scrap leather, some black. And I will lay this on top. And what I did so I got them all exactly the same is I punched the holes based on the previous one so that all the holes are exactly the same. And then I cut the piece out. Okay? After the pieces were all cut out, then I started stitching them together. And I got these three put together now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue. I'm going to stitch this one together. And what I'm doing is I'm stitching all the way from top to bottom on three sides. And the fourth one, I'm only going to stitch the bottom. So it makes it easier to put the ball inside. Okay? So that's what we're doing. So I put the outsides together and I got the insides out. I'm just going to stitch away at this. Alright, we'll see how this one comes out. Okay, so like I was talking about, I stitched all four sides, all three of the sides, and the fourth side I only stitched halfway up. And now I left this side so it's easier to get the shifter ball in there. But I got to turn this inside out now, or right side in. Okay? Now look, let me tell you something while I'm doing this. I looked for videos on how to do this, and most of them gave you a baseball stitch, which stitches from the outside, and or they glue it on, or all sorts of things, right? Nobody showed how to do it like this, so I've kind of had to figure it out on my own. And So let's see how it comes out. You know, you can do something right the first time. You see sometimes they've never restored a car before and it comes out perfect. Well, let me tell you, this is how it happens. Some things you end up doing 3 or 4 times before you get it right. Okay? So, you may not be an expert on something, that doesn't mean you can't do it. Alright, now that's looking pretty good. I got it turned right side out. Now let's see what it looks like when we put the ball in it. Now it should be tight. If it's not tight, it's not going to look right. As you can see, it doesn't go in real easily. You just kind of got to work it in there. Just keep working it in there. See, it's loose over here because it's not all the way down there. Just keep turning it and pulling it and turning it and pulling it. Now there are going to be bulges for where the seams are. I thought about that. And I thought, well, I could cut grooves in the ball where the seams go and give those seams a place to sit down. I don't know, I might do that, but I haven't decided on that yet. First we got to figure out, do we have the right shape? Do we have the leather the right size? I may end up making another one before everything's said and done. But we'll see. I got it worked in there pretty good, but alright. Still a little baggy right there. I'm going to see if I can push it in there just a little more. Okay. That's not too bad. Still got just slight bagginess right here. Now what's going to happen with the bottom is that's going to get tucked in there like that. And the top is going to get tucked in. But let's see. This is looking a whole lot better. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stitch this up on the outside as best I can. Trying to use the same stitch. And I'll just keep pulling it, stitching it from the back, pull it and stitching it from the back. And then we'll see what happens. Now I know somebody out there is going to say, well, Steve, how did you stitch that? Okay, so let me just show you. Originally what I do is I take a needle with it on the outside's facing, the inside's facing out, and I just stitch back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then when you open it up, it looks like that. Well, you got to go back and forth and you got to come back the other way, okay? Or you could do it with 2 needles and go back and forth like that. And that's how you get that look. Now, how am I going to do that from here? Because I got it all on the inside. So, I stitched up to here, and this is what I'm going to do. I got 2 needles this time, okay? And I'm going to stay on the same side as where this thread is, and just go to the next hole up. Come out with it on the outside. Okay? Do the same thing with the other thread on the other side. Okay? Now I need to go across. So I'm going to come across from this side over to this side and go in. And do the same thing with the other side, going the opposite way. And it's just straight across. Think of it like lacing your shoes. Sometimes you lace your shoes so it looks flat on the outside. That's kind of like what it is here. Sometimes you lace it so it looks crisscross. Right? Now, with them both like that, with With them both like that, now all I gotta do is pull it closed. I gotta pull hard. And I'm just gonna keep going like that till we're all the way closed up. That's how you do that. Okay, so this is how it came out so far. And you can see that this stitch shows more than it does on the other ones, of course. And I haven't figured out how to get around that. Mind you, nobody taught me how to do this. I just took the old one apart and just did my best to figure out how did they do it. Okay, and I'm not sure how they were able to stitch it all the way up and still get the ball inside. What we're going to do last is tuck the ends inside the top and the bottom. And that's going to look like that. And now we got to tuck it in the top. I may have to cut a little bit off the top, but we'll tuck it in there. I'm going to use this little metal thing to kind of help me tuck it in there. And we'll see how it looks. And if I don't like it, I'll do it again. The tough part is how do we get all this tucked in and making it look really nice. Okay? And I'm still working on that myself, but it looks like we're getting in pretty good shape here. This is looking pretty good. Now, a mistake I also made on the last time around is I didn't leave enough to shove in there, and it wouldn't stay in there. And so I left it a little longer. It looks like that is the part of the trick, is to leave enough in there so when you stick it in there, it doesn't come back out. And I'll just keep working it in there till we got it all in there. But that's looking pretty good. All right, hey, let's go look and see how the car is doing. The car is in primer and it won't be long now. Thanks for watching The American Garage. If you liked this video, hit the like button and leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe.